Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his
So we're back again with another bit of a special, really, and we always talk about Wigan and that it is the Wigan Way. But this week we'd thought we'd have a chat about the rest of the league, really, and just do a 5-10 minute review of each club of what we think about them, how they've gone on throughout the season, whether they've met their expectations or not. We're going to follow. We'll split it up into a couple of sections. How we sort of see the league being set, because we discussed before that we sort of see the top 3, 4 and 5. Then there was the 3 or 4 teams around the 6 to 8 mark. The teams at 9 and 10, and the teams at 11 and 12. So we're going to split it up into them couple of, should we say, competing teams?
Yeah. Do group together naturally, aren't they?
Yeah. So we're going to start off at the bottom with the bottom 2. In 12th was Wakefield and 11th was Cass, and I think it's fair to say that throughout the entire season, it felt like it was one of these two going down.
Yeah.
We want to talk about Wakefield first, finishing in 12th. It's hard to say that this was a massive disappointment. Obviously, going down is a disappointment, but I don't think there was many people who backed them not to go bottom.
Yeah, I think most people would have backed them to go. If you would have said paint mimic your league table at the start of the season, they would have put probably Wakefield 12th, I would think.
And I will say, I think next year we will do our league table, what we think the league will look like at the end of the season, prediction sort of thing, and then we can compare it to how it's actually come out. But I know in mine, I had Wakey finishing bottom, I had Cats finishing 11th.
So did I.
But I actually think this season's been a little bit more disappointing for Castleford than it has for Wakefield. Do you guys agree, disagree? I thought them two were the bottom 2.
Yeah, I think.
But I thought there was going to be a gap.
I think Cass have a much stronger side than Wakefield on paper. I know obviously the game's not played, but again, the players they had, Jacob Miller, Gareth Widder.
Getting Blake Austin in. Imagine if you're saying getting Blake Austin in mid-season.
They got Blake Austin in mid-season, Greg Eden, good winger.
Paul McShane.
McShane, Paul Mansfield.
Joe Westerman.
Westerman, good player, obviously.
Kenny Edwards.
Yeah.
They had good players, so I think, for them to be in a relegation fight throughout all the season, they couldn't really climb to a position to avoid and make them a bit of room with Wakefield and more be competing with the teams above them, your Hull and your Huddersfields type thing.
Well, this is the point I wanted to make. That Wakefield, I thought they were going to go down. Cass, they should have been closer to Hull, closer to Huddersfield. They were 8 points behind them teams, 10 behind Huddersfield, who finished 9th.
Yeah, they should have been Wakefield at the bottom, dead set on fit to go down throughout all the season, gap, and then teams who were fighting.
I think Cass got dragged into it more than they would have wanted to.
100%.
Obviously, at the start of the season, they sacked Lee Radford after 8 games, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
They then messed around with the appointment of... I forgot his name now.
Andy Last.
Andy Last. It was almost 6 weeks where they had him as an interim, but they didn't appoint him, and then they appointed him. And this just seems like a season of bad decision after bad decision.
It all started, didn't it, when the video of Westerman went out and everyone was questioning the culture of Cass.
Yeah.
What is it like as a club?
Yeah.
That video went out, obviously Joe Westerman absolutely hammered, and it went out, was it the week before the season was due to start?
It was around that time.
Something
It might have been
like that.
right.
And it's like, your season starts in a week, what are you doing going out on vendors? Like, you cannot imagine any club really, but never a big club,
A super
players
club.
acting like that. So
Well, Wakefield went 11th after the first week. They went 12th after the second week. Never moved off that spot.
no.
So Wakefield were 12th for 26 of the 27 rounds. Castleford, they went 11th in the third week. They had a brief dalliance with 10th around Easter time. But from round 10 onwards, they were 11th.
Yeah.
So these have clearly been the two worst teams by some distance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at Castleford here. Think about the time Andy Lass was in charge. I mean, he had 20 games in charge, Andy Lass.
So many.
20 games. And they had, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins, 15 losses. But within that, you know, they went 6 games without a win. Twice.
Let's just actually point this out, sorry. In the 6 league wins, they beat Wakefield twice, Leeds twice, Warrington, and Hull when Hull's season was over. 29-12.
Yeah, but this says that Andy last game was a win over Wakefield, is that right?
Yes. No, was it not before the...
Well, I thought he got sacked the week before when the...
I thought he got sacked the week before, but that might be
maybe, I
wrong.
don't know.
Were you sort of looking through that season as Cass and you're going, I can't see any high points. At least...
Beating Leeds was with the Daryl Alfort's
Yeah.
shush the crowd. That was the high point when they beat him at Magic.
But you look and I look at Wakefield and they had some high moments. Bringing back Fafita, there was a bit of a dream, could they do it? I think Wakey fans would be happier than Cass fans after this season, even though they've gone down.
Just because of the expectations.
The expectations, if you're being honest with yourself. I know I say no matter whenever I've supported Wigan, I can't see us losing. But
it's unusual as well that Castleford had 3 coaches and they've got now another one.
Yeah.
That wasn't one of those 3 coaches, but had 3 coaches in a year where there were only 3 sackings in the whole competition.
And one of them was an ex-Cass manager.
2 of them were Castleford. Applegarth did the whole season and then was removed.
But again, you know what I've just thought about? At the start of the season when they wanted Lee Radford sacked and all the fans refusing to leave the stadium.
Was that Lee Radford?
Yeah, that was under Bradford, I think.
Was that not...
It might have been under
No,
last.
it was under last. That when they refused to leave, that was when they had last as boss.
Was it?
I'm sure
You know
it
what I
was.
mean? Like things like that just don't sound good. And then they brought in a few signings in the midway through the season to get them through, but they're not keeping many of them. And if you look at Wakefield, you can say they've improved the ground. They've seen investment now, a bit more money in the youth. And so I genuinely do believe I would be happier as a Wakefield fan. Especially going into the next season.
I don't know. You want to beat Super League, don't you? You want your club to beat Super League, and they've stayed up and their rivals have gone down. There's a lot to be said for that.
But Wakefield, 4 wins, I should say. Highlight. That fateful night.
Wakefield's highlight.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, Wakefield's highlight was definitely not that game.
I think it was that 4 weeks.
Wakefield's
beating Salford, beating us,
yeah,
losing to Huddersfield, then beating Warrington.
42-6 against Warrington. That was the highlight.
That 6-week spell where they beat. Oh, I forgot they beat Leeds 2 weeks before Salford.
They beat Leeds, Salford, Wigan,
And they were
Warrington.
4 wins from 6.
In 4 wins from 6. And
That's
Wigan.
grand final form.
That actually got them to 11th. That.
It is, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
You win 4 out of every 6 games, especially considering who they've beat there.
Well, you're in the playoffs.
And then to end up such a bad start from not being able to score a try. How many?
Well, that was their last win though. It was around 20 against
Oh.
Warrington, so they had done 7 defeats in a row.
But how many games did they get nilled in? How many?
Well, they had 3 in a row. They were the first side ever to get nilled 3 games in a row. 60-0, 8-0, 26-0.
So I just think if you look at the season, there has been a bit of a high spell, and they brought Fafita back. But generally disappointing for these two.
Yeah, I think disappointing for Wakefield, but we knew they were going to struggle. Cass underperformed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's hard to say Wakefield performed. Maybe you were expecting to win 1 more game than they did, but everyone expected to finish 12th. They did get 12th.
I agree.
Cass underperformed.
The big one with Cass is how many points did they finish up with? 12? 10?
12.
12
8
points.
behind Hull, 10 behind Huddersfield.
And 8 behind the London side that got relegated 2 years ago. Or 3 years ago, whatever it was. So,
Very, very disappointing.
what did Lee do when they got relegated?
It's around 18,
I bet it was more
16,
than that,
18, yeah.
yeah. I know Toulouse got about 12, I think, but yeah.
Right.
That for a team to
Let's
stay up
move
at 12.
up the table a little bit.
Yeah, should we talk about 9th and 10th? These again, two teams that I think it's quite fair to group together.
Oh, sorry, I was going to mention for Wakefield, the top scorer was Lee Kershaw with 7. So obviously not great. Billy Eden was cast as top scorer with 9, so he's not going to be there, is he, next year?
There's not going to be many teams that don't get a double figure try score.
Well, that's what
you
I'm
should get
thinking.
one double figure try score.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
That's what I'm thinking, honestly.
Right.
Sorry, go on.
9 and 10th. Huddersfield finished 9th on 22 with a points difference of minus 79. Hull FC ended up on 20 points with a point score of minus 178. Hull FC, obviously they brought in Tony Smith at the start of the season, brought in Jay Clifford, Tex Hoy, just to name a few. Brad Dwyer went.
Yeah.
A couple of he's had a couple of prop forwards, didn't he, as well? I'm trying to think of.
You know what might be more interesting is if you try and guess these teams' top try scorers. Obviously, it'll be easy when we get to the top.
Adam Swift.
Adam Swift for all I'd say.
Adam Swift had 22.
22 tries in the end for
That's
Hull.
a really good return for Adam
Yeah.
Swift for a team that finished 10th.
And he's going to Huddersfield, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a really good return for Adam Swift. And Huddersfield, who do you think? We spoke
Kevin
about
Iguama.
Yeah, we spoke about him already.
Yeah, because I saw the highlights as
Yeah,
well.
Kevin Iguama got 15.
This whole side, I don't think anyone would have backed them to go and win Super League, to finish in the top 4 after the previous seasons. But a bit of me thought, Tony Smith might get this right, and he might get Jake Clifford, Tex Hoy, these players that could come off, they could finish.
Do you remember that at the
Sixth,
beginning of
they
the
pushed
year?
us in.
Tex Hoy, when they won 2 games.
Yeah, because that's the facts, isn't it? They won. Let me get it right. They won the first week against Cass. They lost. They beat Cass first game, then beat
Castle,
Leeds,
and then, was like,
and then
this is it.
got a battering off Catalan, a battering off Salford. 60 points to 14 at Salford. I forgot about that at Hull.
Yeah,
that was
he
on
went
the
off
that was on Channel 4 Saturday afternoon. That was in front of the world.
Yeah, lost to Saints, Lee, Warrington, Hull KR 40-0.
Do you know what? Do you know what will hurt most for them is that Hull KR have done quite well,
Yeah.
Phenomenally well.
and that I know they beat them at their place, but they were focused on the semi-final then. That Good Friday, when you lose 40-0 at home on Good Friday against your nearest rivals, and then you see them get to the cup final.
Yeah.
And
Have the season that they
have
have.
the season that they had.
When-
you know, Mikey Lewis is the England star man now, and that must hurt.
It must really hurt.
really hurt Hull FC fans when you come 10th
But
or whatever it was.
we did say 10 rounds in that they had to back Tony Smith, and that he's got the experience to fix it. And I do think that's still the case. I don't think they're going to get anything by making a change there. But you can tell he's already made quite a few personnel changes. They brought in Liam Tyndall. They brought in him
Sim.
from Tarek.
No, Josh Sim,
Josh Sims, sorry. I'm thinking of
Ockenbo, SA.
who's the halfback they brought in. Brought in one to replace Clifford.
New Brown.
Yeah,
Farmo New Brown from Featherstone.
they've got the New Zealand hooker, haven't they? They brought him in as well. What's his name?
I don't know.
His name will come to me in a minute. But they've made some signings, and I think these two teams, it's fair to say that if they get off to a poor start, these two managers are going to be in trouble. But I think Tony Smith, they've got it back. I don't think making a change there would solve anything.
I don't think so. I think we call it the play when they went on that horrible run after the two wins. I know we called them out, didn't we? I know. I think it was you, Tom, who said on one of the early episodes of the podcast we did, and you said, "Look, it's not Tony Smith who's going out there missing all those tackles." And I think, and when you looked at Hull's squad, obviously they can't do again. It was the Tex Hoy, Clifford. It took him a good long to get going.
Weeks.
When he did get going, he was phenomenal, don't get me wrong, and that's why he's going back with the Cowboys next year. But it definitely did take him a very long time to kind of get up and get going and show us what he can do. So I think they were struggling. Watson, if we move on to Huddersfield, and I'll start down at Huddersfield because I had the unfortunate experience on predictors and backing them every week for them to let me down because I kept on thinking they were going to come good. Going back to your comment, Tom, about these managers, these coaches are under pressure if they don't perform well. I think Watson definitely, because Johnny Smith brought in a few. He brought in Texai, he brought in Jake Clifford. Watson, after a good season the season before, then
Getting
added
to a
his
Challenge
squad.
Cup and finishing 4th, was it?
Finishing 4th, got to
Yeah.
the Challenge Cup final, then went big and brought in even more players.
And
Everyone
Kevin
went,
Nagama, Jake Connor, Eason Masters, Sam Halsall, Jake Bibby. Into the forwards, who else did they bring up?
Did they bring Chris Hill? Oh, was it Chris Hill the season
No, Chris
before?
Hill had been there the
Was it
season before.
He played in the cup
He got
final,
injured
didn't
against
he? Yeah.
in the cup
Oh, he
final.
did, yeah, sorry, you're right.
But
He went
players-
big, so everyone was expecting them to push on. So I think Ken Davey wouldn't be happy at the fact that
No.
then they actually took a step back, and it's like, well, how do we fix this now? Because we chucked money at it last season thinking it was going to help, and it didn't. It actually hindered us. So how do we fix it? So I think Watson, yeah, definitely the start of next season has got a bit of pressure. He needs to start well. If he doesn't, I think people will be asking questions, and we're going to see with Peter Lassie, the pressure will start building, and it could get very sour very quickly, I think, for Watson and Huddersfield.
So, here's something interesting. It's a tale of two fullbacks. Tex Hoy scored 2 tries in 16 games. 2 tries. Scott Taylor scored 4 in 13. So your fullback there, your star fullback from Australia who's been
He's paying
outscored
money for.
by a prop in his last season in fewer games. Flip that then to Huddersfield. Jake Connor, 2 tries in 21.
And also kicking the ball out of play when
They'll
you're
have expected.
behind by 1.
They'll have expected a lot more from him.
I just remembered that. And
Masters only got 3 tries. They'll have expected a lot more. I mean, Kevin Nagama getting 15 is a lot, right? And Chris McQueen still chipped in.
I don't think he played that many games as well, though, did he?
Yeah, 26.
He played the in play.
Yeah, 26.
Huddersfield, do you know what could help Huddersfield out a little bit? In a way, Will Price going. Because in a way then it can sort
simplifies the thing.
Yeah, it's
Theo
sort
Farge leaving as well.
A lot of yes, exactly. A lot of what we said was your spine's a very important part, if not the most important part of your team. Your 9, your 6, your 7, your 1. You want it consistent. They weren't. They kept on swapping, and sometimes Price is at fullback, sometimes Connor's at fullback, or he's at 6, and
Theo Farge only played 8 games.
that's what. And then they had, is it Oliver Russell? They have as well, is it?
Yeah, Russell played 14 games.
They always
There's
chopping
just-
and
yeah,
changing the
it's
6,
not
7.
enough, is it?
They couldn't build any combinations,
You should-
partnerships.
If you've got 5 players who can play in your spine, 3 of them should be playing 20 plus.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So I think Price going, Farge going means he's going to decide out of Lola here and Connor who's playing 6, who's playing 1. Whoever it is, let's say it's Connor 1, Lola here 6. Well, that leaves Oliver Russell unless they make any more signings, I'm guessing, to slip in at 7.
Have they not signed a halfback?
Can't think.
They've not
Let's say if they have,
Yeah.
even if they have, they need to sort out that, they need a span, they need to stick with it, give it time, let it work, build off it. I just can't believe the thing that shocks me is a coach that talks so much about processes and, plans and sticking to game plans and processes, that he keeps chopping and changing his spine that much. You think someone who was on about processes would keep consistency in the central part of your team?
Yeah. Good point.
So,
It's a good point. Are you looking at all FC's ins now?
yeah.
Huddersfield, sorry. Thomas Deakin, that's the hooker from Australia,
Yeah.
Sydney Roosters. Swift is in for Huddersfield,
Savelio's in.
and Savelio. Wallace is another winger. Hugo Salabio from Wakefield
That's him who, the centre.
is he centre. He had a bad,
think he was a
bad
centre.
suspension, didn't he? Murchie's a second rower, and Clune is a halfback, isn't he?
That's who I was
Right.
thinking of, Adam
So Adam
Clune.
Clune will play in the halves
Right, okay.
with, well, I don't know who with, but
Whoever he picks, he's got to stick, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whoever he picks
Yeah.
it. Unless they end up in a very bad run of form, then he's got to change it.
Yeah.
And you stick with the one there, you just can't keep swapping and changing every week.
Hull FC are the potential X factor for next year. I know I always say this, but bringing in Herman SASA, Ockenbo, Franklin Pele, those 3 could be amazing, or they could be terrible.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of.
There is no solid signings.
Dingy
there.
Brown.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brown's the halfback.
For
The
Hull.
9 into.
for who?
They brought in. He
For
was
Hull. For Manu Brown. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's,
That's what I was thinking of. He played 9 for
he's
New
played.
Zealand.
He's played Featherstone before when he played for New Zealand this time. Yeah.
But they've made some big losses though for Hull FC for next year.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Chris Sutton.
Satai,
Yeah.
Jake Clifford, Scott Taylor retiring, Jamie Shaw retiring. They've lost Adam Swift and Savelli both to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Brad Dwyer, Lovadua hasn't got a club. Ben McNamara
Joe Lovadua will find a club.
was
Very
He's
weird that, wasn't it? Lovadua.
Lovadua will find a
He
club.
seemed like a bit of a kind of
I
had a bit of flow with him.
I think
and
he's really talented and he's versatile.
he's versatile. good
I
in
think he'll find a
positions.
club. I
But,
think he'll find
but
a
again, with them, Ben McNamara was the young halfback who was rated very, very highly, from what I heard, and seen he's now at Lee. Connor Wynn was another young lad that they rated quite well, and he's
Yeah.
went to Featherstone. So,
Featherstone have signed a ton of players.
yeah, so it's an interesting situation for them too.
Yeah, right. Though they need to have to good starts next season.
Well, let me ask you, them two, and I want to include Leeds in this a little bit, but we'll talk about them later on. I think they're the three coaches that are at big risk.
So which three? Those
Smith, Watson, and Rowan Smith.
Rowan Smith at Leeds.
right
At Leeds.
Yeah.
So Tony Smith, Rowan Smith, and
I
Ian
I
Watson.
honestly believe there is a situation if two of them three don't get off to a good start, one of them gets sacked early, because
Well,
they'll be worried about being the second team to sack a coach.
You're not sacking Rowan and bringing in Uncle Tony, are you?
No.
So let's be honest. If Tony Smith gets sacked and signed, it'll be for Huddersfield.
Mm.
Watson could go anywhere.
Mm.
Like, that's just wild, thinking about where Watson could end up. Greg Lingard? Cass? They'll give him time, I think.
I think he's got time. I've got time in the bag,
It's popular.
especially with IMG coming in as well,
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily needing to not finish bottom.
I think that's gone, yeah. Yeah.
But I just think there may be a situation where them three teams, if a coach becomes available and two of them are struggling, who sacks first? Who pulls the plug first? Because you don't want to be the second team to do it and miss out on that coach.
Leeds, I think, off the top of my head.
Mm.
I think there's more expectation at Leeds being the club that they are. I don't think
And
they
they've
have another
signed Crofton
season.
Eccles.
I don't
Also,
think
Tony
season deal
Smith's only one out of them three who's won silverware this year.
Yeah.
Because they won that stupid cup for losing twice against St Helens.
Mm.
You know, because they played Saints twice, won one, lost two, but it was goes off aggregate score. The Steve Prescott.
Oh,
trophy.
yeah.
Oh,
I forgot it went off that, yeah.
And because they won that first game, so because how many did they win that first game by? 34-6.
Yeah.
The aggregate score, so that Hull winning.
The aggregate score.
I forgot about that.
Because Saints beat them twice, but close, and so
I don't like how that's scored. But
No.
obviously they might only play each other
if they only
twice.
play each other twice, that's how it is. What's the Locker Cup now? Because we won the Locker Cup 2 times in a row, haven't we? But it was there last year, and so is that just alternate?
I think it's just a one-off game, alternate.
So next year it'll be whoever wins at Halliwell Jones.
Yeah.
Gets the Locker Cup.
Yeah. Oh, right. We'll take a quick break there. We talked about the bottom four. We're going to come back and talk about the middle four teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit of change of plan. We're going to talk about the two teams now that missed out on the playoffs. In 7th was Salford, who I think sat in 6th position for majority of the season. We're always around 5th or 6th, and
Yeah.
it felt weird that they were the ones to miss, really, because they'd been in 5th or 6th for so long, and the way that the season fell, that they ended up missing out. But a
They had to
team
go
that-
to Catalan, didn't they, in the last game and win it to get the 6th spot,
Yeah.
I think, which is always going to be... Oh,
Was it?
not go to
It
Catalan,
was
sorry,
at
to,
all, yeah, it was at
sorry
all.
to play Catalan, should I say, not go to Catalan.
Well, what I wanted to say was, for me, they went on a 6... Well, not just for me, sorry. They went on a 6-game run just after they got
They
knocked
just
out.
went on a 6-game losing streak for you.
They went on a 6-game losing streak from getting knocked out of the Challenge Cup in the quarters to Hull KR.
Yeah.
So they lost to Wigan, lost to Wakefield, lose to Leeds by 2 points, lose to Lee by 2 points, get battered by Catalan, 42-0 in Catalan. They get 15-2 up against Saints at half time and lose 18-15.
That was that. It was a big game, that. Big defeat.
Yeah. And that was where they've missed out on getting there. Because they end up going, beating Huddersfield, beating Wakey, lose to Wigan, beat Warrington after extra time, beat OKR, and they have to beat Catalans on the last day to get in. they lost it in that middle 6 games.
Would they have
Yeah.
made it even if they beat Catalan? Or did Warrington won on the last day, so they would have still not made it, right?
Yeah, the points difference,
Warrington still won on the last
but
day.
they wouldn't. Yeah, if Salford had won on the last day, they would have had to won by 65 points or something like
Against
that
Catalan.
against Catalan. It's not going to happen, is it? When Catalan is still fighting for top place.
It's not going to happen anyway. They're not fighting.
Yeah. For Salford, it was a season with a lot off the pitch. They kept playing to the standards that they do most weeks, and really was fantastic, and Croft was brilliant, and Mike Sneed was Mark Sneed, and Ackers. But you lose Dupree mid-season after fundraising all the money that they did, and then you have to sell Dupree. And then there's the talks of, is someone going to come and buy Croft? Is he going to the NRL? It felt like there was always a bigger story with Salford rather than what was going on the pitch.
Yeah.
And
Very true.
do you think that's a fair assessment? It felt like the
I
on
do,
the pitch stuff.
Yeah.
I do. Took a back seat almost.
Yes.
And especially in that period you mentioned where they lost 6 or 7 in a
Yeah.
row. It felt like that was the real time where it was that was when the rumours were
We come and buy Dupree. There's rumours of Croft going to wherever he's going to the NRL, and they're coming out making statements saying we're not selling our best players. And then Dupree goes. And then there was rumours of Partington leaving and this leaving and that leaving. And
They always seem to be lacking depth as well, Salford.
Yeah.
So they might have had a very good 1-13 players like Croft, Sneed and whatever, but say that an injury to the halfback, any halfback who's coming in. Do you know what I mean? There was always seems to be struggling.
And they struggled in the pack, in the forwards in general
to
for that.
rotate.
And that is my concern again for them this year, this upcoming season into 2024, that the depth might not be there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, losing Croft and Ackers will have freed up quite a bit of space on the on the cap. Now, I don't think they were up to the cap, but if they can spend the equivalent money, they may be better off getting 6 players for the price of Croft, Ackers and Dupree, if it can strengthen the squad. I know they're not going to get players of that quality,
Squad depth,
Yeah.
but they might be able to get 6 or 7.
I think we're fans of Paul Rowley as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Always like Rowley.
He's the guy, isn't he, for Salford, I think. Big fan.
It's just it's the off-field issues, and I can't see sustained success there until them off-the-field issues have been permanently fixed. With
Unfortunately, I agree.
and they're in the background, because until that happens, you're always going to be asking, is it going to go wrong? Is this going to happen? And it's not a place to be. It's not what you want around your club. Sorry,
No,
I
how many
that
times
slightly
have
wrong.
we talked about consistency?
Yeah.
And you can't have consistency without looming over your head, because you don't know if it's going to be consistent, or if players are going to come,
Yeah.
go, what's going to happen.
Sure.
And it does, you can say all you want in press conferences and after games and post-match interviews, whatever. Oh, we're just worried about what we can control on the field. It does affect you. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you can try and say it doesn't. It does. It's
A
the
good
club
point.
environment, it's the culture, it affects you.
A good point might be is, I think Brealey is not Brealey. Sorry, Paul Rowley dealt with it extremely well.
I think he
Probably
did.
probably to the best that he
definitely.
could.
Yeah,
I think he
100%.
did as well.
And there'll have been a lot of managers who would have walked away. A lot of coaches that say, you're putting too much on me here. I can't get the results. You tie your hands behind my back and walked.
And don't get me wrong, he has to say those things like in the meeting.
Yeah.
He can't. I understand. I know I've just made the point. You can say that, but obviously he has to say that. I get he's not going to come out and go, yeah, he's actually hanging over our heads and we're a bit worried about it. He
Yeah.
can't come out and say that, can he? Which I understand, but it is going to have then an effect on him and the players and everybody involved
But
with the club.
he's took a lot on, and to be fair to them, I'll give them some credit. I think Cade Cuss could be a very, very good signing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he is.
Signed Brealey onto a long-term contract. Is
That
it
was big then.
3 or 4 years?
They were circling for Brealey, weren't they?
Yeah, there's talks of clubs circling.
They signed a few more as well.
Signed a couple more squad players, and I keep seeing that there's 3 or 4 more on the way in. Ethan Ryan is a very good signing.
I
for
like
them.
Ethan Ryan.
Yeah, I hope they can. I hope they can do what they've done this year again
Yeah.
and get a similar result. If they can get 7th,
Yeah.
it's a brilliant season for them.
Yeah.
In 8th,
You want to guess the top scorer?
Ken Seal.
How many do you think he got? Kensio's right.
16.
No, he got 12.
Ooh.
Kensio.
To be fair, there was a few games where they got some very, very low scores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, so 12 for CO. See if anybody else got double figures. No, they didn't.
Oh, they signed Nene McDonald as well. I forgot about Nene.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody
Interesting
else.
when he goes to
So
play.
nobody else in double figures.
You don't know if he's going to actually come on from Papua New Guinea or anything at all.
If he does though, he'll score some tries.
Very true.
Very good centre.
Try scorer. I mean, we talk about him in this next section because he did play for Leeds this year. But yeah,
So let's talk about him now. Leeds finished 8th.
yeah.
Do you think that's almost more disappointing than Hull?
Oh,
Because Leeds got to a grand final last year.
Yeah, I think there's more
They had
expectation for
2020
Leeds to succeed than the past years
2022,
of
they had a very slow start to the season.
yeah.
They then get it right at the midpoint. Things start to go right. They sneak into the top 6. Beat Wigan at Wigan in the semi final. Get to
Yeah.
the grand final. Lose to Saints.
Oh, they must have won a game to come and play us.
Yeah, they did. But I'm just like
Or did we finish third?
I can't.
No, they beat Catalan, but I can't remember which order that was in.
Yeah.
They might have beat Catalan before they beat us.
But the point is they got to a grand final.
I think that's right.
And similar to Huddersfield, you get to a Challenge Cup final. You have the money that you have. They should go on to the next.
And also the pull.
The pull that Leeds
We
has.
talk about Brody Croft and Andy Ackers. Like playing for Leeds is a big deal.
Yeah, same as it's a big deal playing for Wigan, Saints.
Yeah.
It's probably the top 3, aren't they? The big 3. So
We said this numerous times on the podcast during the season. Leeds is a big club that was not running like a big club. The whole thing with Lehman we've talked about before. I don't want to kind of repeat what we've already said. But that was just
you know
That's the
what?
club
I do
captain.
I do think we need to mention it because I almost forgot about that. Leeds shouldn't be losing Sam Walters.
Cruz Lehman was
No,
captain for
possible.
the first 2 games,
Cruz Lehman was club captain.
for 2 of the first 3
and
games.
then ends up leaving because he's had an argument with the coach and the coach they've fallen out and the coach doesn't want him. They also lost Blake Austin mid-season.
No, McDonald.
Nene McDonald mid-season goes to PNG and doesn't come back.
Austin, again, talking about and again, we're not saying about Rowan Smith specifically, how the club is ran.
Yeah.
Austin, from what he said, you don't really know, but he went, I didn't know. Rowan Smith turned around and said, like, I didn't know that's
I got a phone call saying
Austin.
that Austin had been shifted
yeah,
up.
I got a phone call like from the chairman, like, you can't just drop that on a coach. It's
No.
like your half back, arguably your star half back who's
They've lost
He's
Caesar
gonna
as
go,
well.
and he doesn't
They've already
know
announced
about
they've lost
it.
Caesar.
ended up with Jackson Field
And
and Morgan Gannon, a
Morgan
back
Gannon.
rower. A kid, a young back rower playing in the halfbacks along with young Jackson Field.
And that's why they
It's
went.
gonna be a
at
big
full back.
club.
That's
This
why
is-
they went 50-0, 61-0,
Exactly.
back to back weeks.
But you're tying Ron Smith's hands for me. If you get rid of his star halfbacks and he's having to play kids there, and kids who aren't even kid halfbacks, the back rowers.
Forget getting rid of them two. Then having Richie Miller with a couple of head knocks. You get rid of your club captain. You lose Aletsky for a large part of the season injury wise. I'd love you to check how many games Aletsky played.
I'll check that, yeah.
Because it can't have been that many. They
20,
didn't
20 games. So
20 games.
22.
More than
two
I
off the
thought.
bench, 2 off the bench.
Far more than I thought.
Yeah.
But they didn't replace Matt Pryor, really.
Tetavan only played 11.
Tetevano, yeah, obviously gets ill and
That was unfortunate for them, yeah.
you can't plan for them things, and I'm not saying you should, but you look at Rowan Smith and go, what is he meant to do?
The injuries they can't tell, but there's certain things we've covered. The whole situation with Cruz leaving, like you said, Sam Walters should not be going. We're glad he is because as Wigan fans, because we think he's an exciting
I
player.
want Sam
but
Walters.
Leeds fans, when that deal must have come, must have been what we're saying to themselves. Why on earth would we let him go? It's not as a big club, which they are. It's not being ran the same.
It was weird. I saw a Leeds fan who actually admitted that when they announced Walters was leaving, he went and deleted all his tweets saying how good Sam Walters was and not what people do. But about 10 weeks later, he says, "I hate watching him play because you can see how good of a player he is, and he's not going to be there." And you should be building a team around him. really, building a team around James Bentley, them strong back rowers, Reece Martin, and they ended up with Reece Martin in the centres for half a season. Everything just went wrong, and it starts off the pitch. It starts with Hetherington.
I think it does as well.
Yeah.
Years of
I think
success.
it starts with the Hetheringtons and the...
And I still don't think they've got over Sinfield, Burrows,
No.
Maguire, all them guys leaving.
The new stand.
The new stand, you take your eye off the ball on the field. We've had that discussion before.
Yeah.
New stadium syndrome.
Yeah. And I think it's the whole... The Hetheringtons going to Australia to look for a coach and all this, like they're the centre of attention.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see Ian Lennigan do that.
Well, you didn't see Lennigan do it, but we found out that Radlinski had been in Australia for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it was, and none of us knew.
No,
It was like-
he wasn't doing it in front of television cameras on
Yeah.
purpose.
When he's over there. Is he looking at players? What's he doing? Them things should be done in private, and then a statement made after.
Top scorer for Leeds?
Ash Hanley.
Yeah, Ashley, how many do you think?
I'm good at this.
You were, well, I think Gessingham isn't that
16. I think he's had a couple of hat-tricks, but then he played a bit of fullback as well.
No. Ash Handley only got 11.
11?
Yeah, 11.
Wow.
Reece Martin and Foster both got double figures. They both got 10. But Reece
Also, he didn't play that many games, did he?
Foster only played 17 games. So 10 in 17 is a pretty good return actually for him. They need to keep him fit next year because he is a good winger.
He's a very, very, very good Super
They need
League
to
winger.
they need to keep him fit.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying that about a lot of the teams around this middle section. If they stay fit,
Yeah.
it's a very strong squad. I worry about depth.
Mm.
And that even goes into the teams that we're going to talk about who did make the six.
Yeah.
Depth's the question. Anything else to add on these two guys?
No, I don't think so. Like I just
No.
said before, Leeds and Rowan Smith is in the same boat, I think, as Tony Smith and Ian Watson. Like I
Yeah.
said before, if he doesn't get
I
off to a
think
good
Rolly's
start...
safe. I think Rolly's safe.
Roll is safe, but I think if Rowan Smith doesn't get off to a good start at Leeds, I think the pressure could start building quickly and it could turn sour for him as well.
I agree with you.
So, well, we talked about the expectations of Salford next year, and I'll only ask you for a number or a range. Where should Leeds be aiming next year? Because
Well, Leeds need to be in the top 6 and in the last 4 of the Challenge Cup.
I was going to say
Anything less
Leeds
than
have
that
to
is-
try and win the grand final.
Well, anything less than that
It's Wigan, Saints.
is an abject failure. You need to get to basically 2 semi-finals.
Yeah.
At least.
Mm.
Otherwise, you have failed. With the money you've spent and the players you've got, you have failed.
They signed the fullback as well. I forgot about him.
They've actually changed quite a few players.
The Knights fullback. What's his name?
Miller.
Jacob Miller. Jacob Miller.
Lockie Miller. Oh,
Lockie
gosh,
Miller,
Sam
sorry.
Jacob Miller, guys. Yeah, Lockie Miller.
They've spent big money. They have to get top 6.
Yeah,
Going for a,
They have to do playoffs.
They've signed Matt Frawley and Lockie Miller, so one will play fullback. In fact, they've signed 1, 6, 7 and 9. So you want to talk about ripping up a spine and starting again. They're keeping obviously 13 of Cam Smith, but they've signed Lockie Miller, Matt Frawley and Brodie Croft, and they've signed Andy Ackers. Add to that Gudemond, a strong forward from Catalan, who's been really good this year.
I don't think they've lost many people.
And
in the
Paul
props.
Momorovsky,
Paul Momorovsky, a very good centre.
decent centre. That's really good recruitment, I would say. And in terms of losses, McDonald, obviously.
Momorovsky replaces McDonald, doesn't
Yeah, Tetevano's finished, but the only other big ones, like you've lost both your halfbacks, but you've replaced them.
he? Walters and Lee.
And Walters, Richie Milner
Gone
only
to-
just gone to York, but he wasn't going to get played, was he? Lockie Miller would be playing, and I've just shown you there 1, 6, 7 and 9 all signed.
Yeah.
When have you ever known a team to sign 1, 6, 7 and 9?
for big money as well, the fees that they paid.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever have. There's only Ackers there, not on the quota. Brodie Croft will definitely be at marquee.
You know what? The fixtures for Leeds is going to be serious.
Miller will be.
Because they're not going to want to drop on Wigan, Saints, Catalan early. They're going to want to give that spine time to settle in. Imagine if they draw them and they get off to a bad start. That could turn vicious there. That could turn very toxic.
I agree.
In my opinion, I because they've signed the players now. Your only option is to change coach. You can't get a full new spine again. You can't rip it up and start again.
Yeah, you can.
Your spine.
Who sang that song? I don't remember.
What, rip up your spine and,
No, rip
and
it
sign
up
a
and
1,
start
6,
again.
7 and 9?
No, rip it up and start again.
I didn't think that was a song. But Roman Smith must be feeling the pressure. That's all. That's the thought going through my head right
100%.
now.
100%.
Right, that wraps up the two that have missed out. We're back after this quick song. So we're back now. We've got 3 teams to talk about.
Yeah.
These 3 made it in the playoffs, but were probably a little bit away from the top 3. It feels fair to group these.
Yeah.
Now, just because we're grouping them doesn't mean they had similar seasons. We're talking Hull KR in 4th, Lee in 5th, Warrington in 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Should we start with Warrington?
Yeah, go on, let's.
Why not?
Matty, you looked at the award winners a second ago and it said that they won the May Cup because they were top in May. Yeah?
Yeah,
Was it the April?
Yeah.
Did they win the April one as well?
Well, they were top in all 3 of those months.
Oh, March, April, May. But joking aside, they started the season with eight on the bounce. Or was it 9 in the bounce, sorry?
No, 8 on
Eight after
8 on the bounce.
8 from 8 they went, and then we were the 9th game.
We
handed in the first defeat.
Yeah, we handed the first defeat. They then lost to St Helens the week after, which put us top. They beat Wakey when we lose to Hull, and things swing back round and Warrington finish top, are on top there after 11 games.
Phil Clark called it. Right, of all people, if you remember, he said there was going from 8, everyone were praising him, and Phil Clark said, I think one loss derails him, and everyone called him out. He said, don't be stupid, you look good like me.
Well, there's not
Real
many
deal.
times that Phil Clark can say, I told you so.
And that's it.
But this is what?
He did, he called
Say it
it.
proud.
To give him the...
Fair play, Clarky, for that.
But again, we talk about things off the field, and I think these things started off the field. 8 wins. The videos of Daryl Powell in the pub singing the songs and singing the Wigan songs, and they're in Catalans, and the pictures of bucket hats and we're going to win Super League and all that, and the Sam Cassiano. Then Josh Maguire gets banned for a long spell,
Yeah.
and
And then he goes.
then he goes, and then they lose to Wigan, lose to Saints, bounce back against you say Wakey away,
Wakey, it was Wakefield, yeah.
and you think, have they got it?
At all.
Have they got that momentum? They've bounced back. After that loss, let me just check. Well, I'll read out the fixtures to you after that. They beat Hull KR. They beat Catalans in the Cup. They lose to Lee, lose to Hull FC, just beat Huddersfield, lose to Wigan in the Cup, lose to Cass, lose to Leeds, lose to Saints, lose to Wigan again, lose to Wakey, 42-6, lose to Catalan, lose to Leeds. That is 10 losses in the next 11. And I can't remember exactly when Daryl Powell gets sacked.
It was 4
I think it was
games to go.
after the heavy defeat to Wakefield, wasn't it? He went and...
But
No, he hung on a bit more. Like it was.
because
It was actually when they beat Cass 66-12 was his last game in charge. Apparently.
Was it?
Yeah, I didn't realise that. That's what
Yeah,
it says
I
on.
thought it was heavy defeat to Wakefield.
That's what it says on
Rugby
Rugby League Project. I didn't know that. And
No.
that they'd finished up with a win.
again, we talk about off the field things. The pictures of Powell sat in the box, not coming down after the game. Who's in there with the players? It spitting your dummy out, and it felt like the circus around Warrington. It almost didn't matter how they were performing on the field because there was so much going on off it. I don't know your guys' full opinion on it, and we've talked about it a lot because it was the big story in the season.
It was...
But what happened?
It wasn't what happened. To answer that question, the start of what happened wasn't this season. It was 2 seasons ago when Powell first come in. And I'm not trying to blame Daryl Powell, but as a club, they got things wrong. I remember Powell come in, he signed these players, whatever, and everyone will say that, are they going to be the real deal? Are they going to be the real deal? And the first game on Sky, they did an interview with, is it Carl Fitzpatrick, their CEO? And he said, well, when Power come in, he told us it was going to be a rebuilding job and it'll take time. And I think they had Sam Tompkins on as a guest at the time when they cut back to the studio with the pundits, and Sam Tompkins went, I can't believe that. I can't believe you've got... That team is a very, very good team. Powell has walked in as the new coach on the first day and told the CEO it's going to be a rebuilding job. Like, what's he talking about? What players is he looking at? And from there on, it seemed to go a bit sour. Everybody had his trust in those players. He called them out, then tried to go back positive. Then the new season rolls in, they got off to a good start, great for me. But everyone's asking the question, the pressure builds up to that first game against us, saying, you've won 8 from 8. I remember Brad Singleton saying this after a game, the game before we played, and they had the interviews with the players after the match where we won at home. And they said, you go to Warrington next week, Brad, obviously they're 8 from 8. You know, how are you feeling? And he said, the first thing he said was, we don't feel like they've been tested yet. He said, it's alright going 8 from 8, but we don't feel like they've been tested yet. And everyone's asking the question of Warrington, can you do it against the big teams? In order to win grand finals, it's okay beating Wakefield's, beating Salford's, beating, you know, an underperforming Leeds and Hull side. But in order to win grand finals, you've got to beat your Wigans, you've got to beat your Saints. You know, and when showed when they come in,
they got Catalan away, and they'd beaten Catalan away.
They beat him in for Cup as well, to be fair.
Which was a big win. I think the Rugby League project is wrong. I think you were right there, Lewis, about Darryl Powell losing his job at Wakefield. I seem to remember actually now thinking about it, listening to that game on the radio and then getting all the tweets about him leaving. No, he didn't get on the coach, did he?
No.
Coming on. So yeah, you're definitely right on that one. He did lose his job. So Chambers must have had. So he must have had 8 games in charge.
Yeah.
Chambers.
Yeah, he had a little bit more than what it felt like it should have been.
He just carried himself better though, Chambers as well. Like whenever you saw him in his interviews and his, you know, doesn't any of that. Like he seemed to make out himself. Darryl Powell, I'm going to complain about the officials. I'm going to call the players. I'm going to sit in the box and not come down because I'm frustrated. It's like you're with a team here that's aspiring to win the first grand final they've ever won.
That was ridiculous. That when he didn't come.
Do you know what I mean? Like, be a professional coach. Can you ever see a Sean Wayne, a Wayne Bennett doing something like pulling that stunt?
We talk about Sean Wayne, and I always remember saying, it was one of my big things about him, when he lost, he very rarely mentioned the players, I got the tactic wrongs, we didn't do certain things right. They were always his comments.
Credit the opposition, maybe.
Yeah, they played really well, but we didn't defend well enough, or we made too many handling errors. But it felt very specific, the criticism of that Darryl Powell put out key groups of players. And
his refusal to play young players, that some teams have had success from playing young players this year. We talked about. I know he's had the Young Player of the Year. Two nominees. But he refused to play his young halfbacks. Played Peter Masauti out of position there instead.
Riley Dean, obviously. I was just going to mention the outs.
One game, Riley Dean. I think nothing.
They brought him. They sent him on loan to Cass. Then brought him back from Cass on loan and never played him. He's been released by mutual consent and been picked up by the feeder team of North Queensland Cowboys, hasn't he?
Yes.
So he's going to go over to Australia and train with the first team.
Wynnum Manly Seagulls, they're called. But it's not Manly Warringah Sea Eagles.
No.
It's a weird quirk in the.
But look at the outs for Warrington. Darryl Clark going to Saints. That news being bit mid-season doesn't help because there was speculation over it. Peter Matauti's retirement. Again, we mentioned the fact that he played at halfback in the Challenge Cup quarter-final against us.
It wasn't just that game.
No. But for one, Greg Minikin leaving. One I wanted to mention was Thomas McHaley.
Leaving again.
Left mid-season. Could you imagine any other club letting a player leave for compassionate grounds and then bringing him back when he can't get a game over there and you need a prop?
I don't get it.
That just doesn't seem...
I honestly don't get it. I think they were eyeing up that quarter spot and thought they had somebody and then it fell through. Must have been.
That would make sense.
Oh, it was just scored on the TV. The game's changed, everybody, by the way. The game changed now. It's now the full game of the Brisbane against North Queensland grand final from 2015. The Jonathan Thurston one, if you want a spoiler. Jack Reed just scored. Remember him?
Oh, the centre.
Centre for England, the redhead who played for England.
Good player, like that too.
Yeah, I liked him. He just scored a good try there.
But they're bringing in Lachlan Fitzgibbon, second rower. Will go alongside Ben Curry. And who else played in the second row this year?
Nicholson.
Matty Nicholson.
You'd expect Nicholson to play at 13.
I don't know. I think he might play.
I've seen a lot of comments about that, but then they brought in Roderick Ty from the PNG Hunters, Wesley Bruins, who was from St Helens.
Yeah, he was highly thought of.
Highly thought of.
Ty, he played centre for PNG in this tri-series thing, but I think he can play on the wing as well.
Yeah, he's an outside back into.
So yeah, we'll see.
Wesley Bruins is a centre.
Yeah.
Toby King obviously comes back from Wigan. Geordie Crowther. But then Zane Musgrove from St George Illawarra.
Yeah. Big lad, big tash.
Yeah, big.
Got to say about Zane Musgrove. Big lad with a big tash.
And the return of Brad Dwyer, who has left Hull.
Yeah.
There's obviously more rumours of ins and outs at Warrington and
Well,
every club.
But Warrington, what are the goals then for next year in terms of where they should finish, Warrington?
Well, I know we're talking about off-field stuff again, but there was the interviews when they announced Sam Burgess as coach, and they were saying this is the brave call.
Here's someone who won't be under pressure.
He's not under pressure.
Burgess is getting the full, probably at least 18 months.
He has to.
There's no way you'll appoint him if you're going to sack him if things go wrong in the first 6 months.
But
Burgess is getting tired.
But not my concern, because I'm really never concerned about Warrington, but if he does well and an NRL job comes up, he might just go straight back. If he gets off to a really good start, he may just go.
Don't know.
Because there isn't that many coaches about. But what I was going to say was, they were talking about it being the brave call. It's we're doing this big thing. It's a bold call, it's a bold statement. To bring in a coach who's got no real first team coach experience. And I'd be much more worried if they'd have gone and got Justin Holbrook. And then obviously there's the talks that Holbrook turned him down. But they need a better response. They spent money again. Looks like they're going to maybe spend more money. They need to start getting results. And it could turn into another, it's always your year if things don't start well. So,
Yeah.
The interesting thing with Warrington, sorry though, I'm
go.
just going to point out about looking on this stats page here is all that talk of Powell rebuilding and that it was going to be a rebuild that you mentioned earlier. I've just looked at who played for the most games. There's two players who were ever present and played in 30 games. Steph Ratchford and Ben Curry.
Okay.
who were already there.
Predate
Yeah.
Darryl Powell. Predate him. So this whole rebuild thing, he's then
Can you
gone.
just read out like the top 5 or 6 most appearances? Is it in order?
Um,
Or are there any like play 26, 27?
well, Dufty played 28,
Yeah.
and Ashton played 27. Vaughan played 27. That's pretty good from him actually. And Matosia played 28. So then 5.
There's
well,
only
6.
Ashton there that's a young lad, really.
Well, Matt Dufty's 25 and I'm 25, so you're calling me not a young lad.
Matt Duffy's only 25. I thought he was a little bit older, I'll be honest.
No, Matt Dufty is. He's not
But
your typical
what-
NRL player come over to Warrington. Let's just say.
What I mean by Ashton being a
Oh no,
young
wait,
lad,
he's 27. Sorry, I messed that up. He's 27. Ashton's 25.
he's the one that I can see still getting better.
Ashton.
Yeah. Vaughan's not going to get better at 30.
And James Harrison's only 27.
I don't think I knew that. But Ratchford's not going to get better. Metalti's obviously retired. Dufty's not going to get better. Who else did you mention
Paul
in that?
Vaughan.
Paul Vaughan, not going to get better
No.
at 30 plus.
Drinkwaters played 25. Williams has played 25. I mean, that's reliance on a lot of guys. I mean, Ben Curry played 30 games. We like Ben Curry, we're a fan of him, but that's a lot of games.
So a lot of
No,
games
no rest.
for a guy, how old Ben Curry? 29?
29, yeah, good guess. 29, and yeah.
You remember he played in a World Cup final in 2017, Ben Curry.
Yeah,
Like, he's been round a long time.
well, that age, I'm not sure.
And the question is,
Currently says Matty Nicholson's 32, so I don't think.
oh right, well that's the that could be the Super League website just being wrong. But what I mean by that is the squad has to improve. We talk about 1 to 17. Their 1 to 17 can compete with anyone. You lose a halfback who's going to go in there. You lose a prop who's going to come in and fix things.
it's not Sam Cassiano.
I think I'm hoping, one, because he was like my child hero growing up when I used to play rugby league, but I'm hoping Sam Burgess can get it right.
Sparkly eyed boy.
And I think the sparkly eyed man, as
No.
Russell Crowe called
No,
him.
sparkly eyed.
I can't
Sparkly
even
eyed man.
listen to the thought of Warrington doing well.
No, but what
It
I'm
makes me feel a bit sick
but what
inside.
but what I'm trying to say is Sam Burgess is a leader of men. He will
That's true.
be able to fire his players up and get the best out of them.
Well,
What I think Burgess needs is a team of is Burgess. I wouldn't know. I'm guessing he's not the type of person, who's going to be a great attacking coach, going to have him running loads of block plays, nice shapes, and they're going to be scoring all these lovely tries. I don't think that's going to be Burgess's thing. It's going to be about collision. It's going to be about aggression.
We're talking about that side of Burgess. He's got the perfect halfback that should be saying, "How do you want us to play?"
Yeah.
George Williams is one of the best halfbacks in the comp.
Do we know who's going to be his assistant?
I think that's going to be a big call. Get the right people around Burgess, so his job is taking care of the players, firing them up, leading them.
My concern around Burgess is, as a head coach,
He's got Gary Chambers, Martin Gleeson, and Richard Marshall around him. So he's got good, experienced
what
players.
I was saying about Burgess
around
is he doesn't strike me as a leader with his words. We're going to do this in this how we play. You watch Burgess play, and the Burgess that we all love to watch, he stood up and dragged everyone with him. Can he sit in a team meeting and lead a meeting on how we're playing? That's going to be the difference of being a captain to being a coach.
I think he can, because if Burgess speaks, you listen.
Yeah.
I think so. Imagine you're Matty Nicholson now.
Yeah.
I played a Sam
That's what I mean. Burgess speaks, you listen.
I don't disagree with that at all, but that's going to be his big issue. Can he come from being a captain who led by, you're not pulling your weight, I'm going to go out there and prove the standard you should play at, I'm going to play when I'm battered and bruised and all that stuff, to become a Sean Wayne, a Justin Holbrook, a coach that you listen to and you're obsessive over. Everyone talks about Sean Wayne and Holbrook, they're obsessive over every minute detail. That's a big change from being a captain. And I wonder how many coaches have gone from being the inspirational captain to being a leader of a team like that it's a different job. And I don't think, I'm not saying he can't do it, but that is going to be
It's his first head coach role at the end of the
biggest
day.
challenge.
It's his first job as an head coach. I don't think he spent a lot of time as an assistant at Souths, to be fair.
Under immense pressure. Because Warrington have got to get it right.
Well, Matty asked before what's the goal of Warrington next season, and I think it's got to be playoffs. I don't think with the new coach coming in they're going to aim for grand finals straight away, but I think they want to be better than last season. That's all Warrington fans will be saying is say, you know what, just make us better than last season. Get the players playing again. Put some pride back in the jersey.
I agree. You did say we were going to spend 15 minutes.
I know.
on all these
It's
teams,
already
but
been-
We've had 10 minutes on Warrington.
I am going to disagree. I don't think them just getting playoffs is good. They got playoffs this year.
Yeah, but that's only because they had an amazing start and there were so many bad teams.
Matt Duffy, Josh Thulis, Ratchford, Matty Ashton, I'm just going through the team, Matty Russell, George Williams, Josh Drinkwater, James Harrison, Paul Vaughan, Philbin, Dudson's still there, Joe Bullock. These are players that...
Is
should be
Matty
at the
Russell
top.
not contractually obliged to sign for London now because they've just been promoted? I thought that was his job.
But Danny Walker, Ben Curry, Matty Nicholson, these are players that are international players. They brought in Lachlan Fitzgibbon.
But it's going to take time under Burgess as a new coach to, get his stamp on it. It's going to take time for those new signings to come in and Burgess to implement his style of play and what he wants.
I think Lewis is right.
So I think
you've got to better it next season. You've got to
go on. This is Burgess has got what Darryl Powell said he had. In my opinion, like Darryl Powell said, "Oh, it's a transformation job." It's not. Darryl Powell had a good squad there he can come into. I think
Is this squad better or worse than the squad that Darryl Powell took in? because this squad has added.
They're
in the
not
time
they're not playing as well as the squad that Darrell Pell.
I think it's probably quite even.
I think the squad's even, but you're adding Matt Duffy, Paul Vaughan, and George Williams to the squad that Darrell Powell started with. And I know you've lost a couple. They've not lost anyone to them three quality, in my
Yes.
opinion. But my point is let's say we say this is a rebuild year. When's it no longer a rebuild year?
Well, not a rebuild year, but it's a year that they just got to do better. That's what I'm saying. I think it's unrealistic goal to say we have one of our I go they got playoffs, but again they were called. Williams did an interview with Sky where Brian Kearney I put some tough questions to him, saying, people are saying Warren's got a soft underbelly, George. What do you make of that? He had to say, we can't really deny it, can we, with the performances we're putting in. Those players, Kyle Amor went there and he's since he left back, he's done an interview saying they were demotivated, the changing room was flat, the culture was horrible. I don't think you go from that to a grand final winning year
No.
it's going to take time to
But-
fix that.
But we had the same situation when Matty Peake came over. A rebuild year.
So Warrington's
Won the cup. You win 4 games, you win the cup.
Warrington.
Yeah.
So that might be the target.
Maybe, try and just get maybe the cup and whatever and try and make
Let
the
me just point this out. From 2010, finished third, first, second, fifth, sixth. That takes you to 2015. They then finished first and ninth, and Tony Smith got replaced by Stephen Price. From there, they finished fourth, third, fifth, third, 11th under Darrell Powell, sixth. That is not a team that is finishing outside the playoffs. They're not having any chances, and they're trying to break through the ceiling, and they've got to completely rip everything apart. Them players have won things.
When I said rebuild before, it's probably the wrong word to use. It's not a rebuild. They'll have to come and strip the team out and get all new players in. So rebuild was the wrong word for me to use.
Yes, they
But
do what Matt Peake did.
Yes,
they changed the
essentially,
culture.
It's
Culture
gotta-
change.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if he changed
that's
the
what I mean.
culture,
Culture rebuild. Culture reset.
Yeah.
but if he does that, you can get success in your first year.
He needs a leader.
He
That's
does-
George Williams.
This is what I'm trying to say. The things that he needs to change, culture and whatever, if he gets it right,
They can win the cup.
they can win the cup, they can finish second, third, they could finish first. They could get to a grand final. Because you can get them.
Well, I've just seen the coaches box for Brisbane. Look at that. Kevin Walters, Stephen Kearney and Wayne Bennett.
Some coaches though.
That's the kind of greed they talk about in the Bible.
But what I'm trying to get is, I know we've stuck on Warrington for a long time here,
Yeah.
is they're not saying we need to change the culture and bring in 8 players and completely change the way that we play. We're talking about him changing the culture, and for me, it's to be successful. It's to actually finish third, finish fourth, get to a grand final semi, get to a grand final, get to a Challenge Cup. Because let's say they get knocked out in a semi of a Challenge Cup and they finish 5th and don't get to a grand final. The pressure is seriously on for them the year after, because they're just delaying it. They're delaying when they want success. For me, they like Wigan, like Saints, like Leeds, like Catalan now, have to have success every year. And I know not all of them can do it, but you have to be up there. I don't think them teams you can say, oh yeah, we'll just take a year off. We'll just take a year off and finish whatever. Because look at Leeds fans. They got to a grand final last year and had a year off this time, missed the playoffs, and everything's gone dreadful.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Warrington need to make playoffs.
But they can't, for me, they
That's
can't
the thing.
sneak in at 6th.
No, I said they need to go better.
They have,
That's what I said
they-
before.
they
I
have
said
to-
they need playoffs, but they need the goalies to be better than what they've been this year.
They need a home playoff game. They need to finish in the top 4 if we go for top 6.
You've not guessed the top scorer and how many he scored.
Ashton,
Yeah. How many?
17.
No.
Higher or lower?
You've actually guessed low for the first time.
Oh, did you get 20?
You got 20. Yeah. 20.
Again, got an England. How many England internationals have they got though? We looked at the rep,
We've lost looks at the rep teams yet, and Paul Vaughan's got 5 rep teams.
but the serious players there,
There are a lot of representatives.
and there are
in-
players that are going to get better, and should get better. Matty Nicholson should get better.
Yeah.
Lachlan Fitzgibbon is a big signing. I just don't think if they finish in the same place they do this year, they're in serious trouble for me.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I think they need to get. I think they need to do better. I just don't think. If you're saying what do Wellington want to do, and they come and say, I don't think Bow's going to come in his first team talk and go, right lads, we're going to win grand final.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
What
I
do you
think you need to do better, but I don't know if you go from this to just winning the grand final. It needs to be. Virgie said when he got the job, they said, "What's your goal?" And he said, "My goal is to leave the club in a better position than when I find it, or when I found it." And I think that's the thing he's got to do. He's just got to do better and then build on from there. There's nothing if they improve next time to say, right, the next step, lads, is to aim for a grand final or whatever it might be. But I don't think that's the next step right now. I think the next step is to build, get better. Like I said, don't scrape it at 6. Try and make top 4. Maybe try and win a cup, whatever it might be. Then the year after, once he's built and he's got cemented in place, then they go for it.
Well, what do you... I feel like we could talk about this forever.
Well,
What do you think-
because you're the most stubborn person I've ever met.
Yeah, true. But what do you think Matty Pete's team talk was at the
And
start
we were
of
meant to go
2020?
home at this time.
I know,
We've
I
still
know.
got 5 teams left.
We'll fly through them.
We're on 6.
Matty Pete, 2022, what do you think he said? Oh, we just need to do better.
I don't know, and that's why I'm not a coach, and he is. I don't know how you get players up for that. You must know. And
And
hopefully
if you're
Burgess
George
does.
Williams and he comes in and says, oh yeah, we're just going to be better.
I don't know.
They're there to win comps.
Yeah, that's just.
So did you expect Matty Pete to win the grand final in his first season when we looked dead dire underline when we couldn't score a point in the last 4 games ever we played? And
No, but I'd be
really
upset if
prefer-
you were saying, oh, I won't win it. I'm not bothered.
No,
No, sorry, I worded that wrong. If he came in and said, oh, we just want to finish 4th.
No, we wouldn't have said that though, would
Yeah,
we?
but he wouldn't have said that. What I'm saying is we need to get better. And Matty Pete did say when he got the job, and he said, what was your role? And he said, my job is to make sure every player in this dressing room knows they've got to continuously improve.
Yeah, continuously improve and get better. That year that we had the shocker under Lamb, where did we finish? In 2021? We got playoffs.
Yeah, we've hosted Leeds.
That's what I mean. So we must have got 4th.
We got 4th.
We want to get better. It's finishing 2nd, 3rd, top, winning something. Them teams, success is what's demanded. And I think that's where Warrington need to aim. We want to win everything. Wigan should want to win every single game they partake in. Catalans want to win every game, Saints do. And if you go in and say, well, we're trying to get better, but we're not going to be disappointed if we don't get a grand final. You do them hill runs in January because you want to win a grand final in October.
So if they don't win grand final, you're sacking Burgess.
There's
No,
not. There's
no,
not
no,
12
no.
teams that need to. There's not 12 teams that go out expecting to win the grand final. I know everyone says they do, but there's 3 or 4. Let's be honest.
So, this year, who thinks a grand final is what they should be aiming
St
for?
Helens definitely.
Wigan,
Warrington,
Saints, Catalan,
probably Leeds.
Warrington, Leeds,
Maybe those 5.
then 5. So their aim is to win it.
You're not telling me.
If whoever finishes 5th out of them 5 walks away unhappy. Whoever doesn't get a home semi-final is unhappy.
Well, one of them missed the playoffs.
If you miss the playoffs, you should be fuming.
That's why I think Rowan Smith's under the most pressure.
Yeah.
Because out of them 5 teams, one of them finished 6th. Okay, one of them missed the playoffs.
Now if Powell,
The other 3 were top 3.
if Burgess comes in and finishes 5th, but he upsets a Wigan and beats a Wigan and whatever, and they have their ups and downs, but you see they can win bigger games and bigger games, I think they walk away unhappy. If they do what they did this year, where they beat teams from 6 to 11, 6 to 12, but can't beat Wigan, can't beat Saints, that shows no improvement.
Yeah.
They have to, for me, be aiming at least for top 4. They should be aiming to get to a grand final.
I think he'll definitely improve the culture.
So do I.
I think so.
So do I.
I hope he does.
But that's the aim.
Let's talk about Lee.
Right, Lee in 5th.
Be some positive, right? Lee have done well.
Done
Yeah.
very, very well.
We're on,
Very,
to
very
we're on to teams now that have all done pretty well.
Because they finished 5th.
The top 5.
Warrington's aim, top 5. Get to a semi-final, win something.
Lee just. Well, exactly. Actually, I think you're right there. Lee have won something and got
5th.
to the playoffs
Yeah.
and looked good and won some big games while doing
Yeah.
it.
And that's what...
I'm with you.
Now, Lee, where did you expect him to really finish this year? I didn't have him in the bottom 2.
I didn't have him bottom,
I had
but
him-
maybe around it. I didn't see him.
I think I had him in
maybe
9th, I think.
About what
8th or
Huddersfield and
something.
Hull did.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about them, I was expecting to talk about them.
I thought 10 to 12 wins.
Not in a scrap,
Yeah.
but comfortable. But 10 to 12 wins is Pretty
10 to 12 wins is 20
4
to
points. Isn't that what
24
they got?
points.
24 points.
They got more than that. They got about 28, didn't they?
Oh, did they? No, I don't think they did. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at Hulk.
You've got me thinking now, sorry. I've got the table here. Lee got 32.
Oh, they got 32.
So they got 16 wins out of 27. Plus the Challenge Cup run.
Yeah. So that's 4.
So,
That's 20 wins out of 31. Very good.
yeah. I was thinking to see them on 22 points, 24. Maybe have upset a Wigan at home, upset a Saints at home, someone like that, have a big scalp. But I think the thing with Lee was they didn't get off to an absolute flyer. They lost to Salford, lost to Catalan, and then win a couple of games quite close. They beat Hull KR 30 points to 25, beat Saints 20 points to 12, post them being in Australia, because that obviously derails your season. Lose to Warrington, beat Hull, lose to Wigan, lose to Salford. They were actually only 3 from 7, which is very good. I think 3 wins from 7 if you're the promoted team is brilliant.
Here are the here are the things that jump out to me at this page. Is appearance makers. We've talked all year about them having a strong first team and not really a strong squad.
And that's got to be their area to improve.
They played 32 games
32 games, yeah.
because it was them 31 plus they played the semi-final, didn't they?
Yeah.
Against Hull KR. Tom Briscoe played all 32.
Yep.
Lachlan Lamb played all 32. Tom Amone played all 32. That's a prop forward. Should not be playing all 32 games.
Yeah.
Robbie Mulhern played 31. O'Brien 31. Josh Charnley 30. Matt Davis played 30 games.
Second roller.
You
David.
never would have guessed that Matt Davis would play 30 games. Ipape 28. Asiata 28. And he
28 and he didn't play the
missed the last
four.
few, didn't he? Ardika 27. He missed the last few. Ben Reynolds 27. He's gone. Mella 26. You see what I mean?
The big numbers then
That's
for a
a
lot
big
of
numbers
players.
for a lot of players.
The squad depth has got to improve.
Well, am I right? They've got no academy, Lee.
To get him on this time.
They get him on this
They can get him
time,
and keep,
so
They can get
that's
him
the thing in it, because that's obviously where your depth's going to come from. Because you have your own kids coming through and young guys you can give a chance to. So yeah, they need investment in squad depth. They've got quality players. They're sure they can win good games. That they can win big games. So yeah, the thing they need is a bit of depth, because obviously a couple of injuries come their way.
Only
and
3
they're
guys
gonna
in
be
double
struggling.
figures for them, try-wise. Lamb 10, Briscoe 19 and Charnley 30, if you include the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
So if you include every competition, Charnley was the top try scorer.
They've got they play good rugby as well.
Played some very good rugby. Aim for them.
Same again.
Finish 5th.
Yeah, same again.
I don't think they necessarily need a cup run.
No, they don't. But finish 5th again. 4th or 5th.
Try and do well.
Something like that.
20 odd wins.
I think even if the
Not 20 odd wins,
Even
sorry, that's
if-
completely wrong.
even if they finish
15
up,
wins.
even if they just finish up like fighting for the playoffs,
Yeah.
I think they'll be.
Do you know what? Even just missing out on the playoffs.
If they just miss out on the playoffs, but they fought the whole way, basically what Salford did,
Yeah.
then I think you'll be reasonably happy.
Yeah.
They'll want to be in the playoffs, but I think that's because there's going to be good teams next year again.
Yeah.
I
The teams are getting better.
I think if you finish up where Salford did, I think probably for Lee and Salford, that's probably where they're going to end up. That's where I'll be predicting them. And I don't think you can complain too much. I think that's where those clubs are at the minute, but they're building. Lee certainly are building.
Now into 4th. Hull KR. Obviously miss out on a Challenge Cup to Lee. And I think that's probably what spurred him on to Nick 4th.
I think the players sort of said that.
Yeah.
That was true, yeah.
That you lose that and you probably come out of it wanting to make a point and improve. So they nick 4th. That gives them the home semi, gives them the advantage. It
Yeah.
would have been interesting if they'd done a bit of a best of 3, one at Hull, one at Hull KR, one at Lee, one at whoever, because I don't see too much difference between them.
No, I know.
It would have been interesting to see if they'd played it at a neutral venue, who would have won that. But
Yeah.
obviously Hull KR deserve.
And Hull KR did batter Lee just after the final.
Yeah. But Hull KR to finish 4th, then they went to the semi-final, and obviously Wigan put on a big win. What score did it actually end up?
42.
42, something, I think.
I can't remember if it was 10 or 12 or whatever.
42-12, yeah.
It felt after 5 minutes that it was a step too far.
He did. They're shell shocked.
Yeah, and big stage.
They won't be next time.
No. I am a believer of you've got to lose one to win one. I know not a lot of people are, but that is
Tell
my...
that to Warrington. Or Catalan now. Catalan lost 2.
Yeah, but you get my point though. You've got to be there and experience it. And walking out at Wembley, walking out at such and such a place.
I actually think you have to lose one to win one as well, and I actually think
I think the
Catalan
fact
are a decent shout to win it all next year.
Catalan, really?
Yeah, I actually think.
We'll talk about that very.
I actually do
quickly in a
think
second.
Catalan are going to be really good next year, but yeah,
We're
not up to them yet.
But Hull KR obviously have made some big ins this year, and I think they're only going to get better. I'll just list out who they've signed. Obviously, they've let go Sean Kenny-Dow, who's retired, Ethan Ryan, Sam Wood,
Kane
Kyle
Lynette
Horse.
retired as well today,
Yeah, Kane Lynette retired.
so they
Connor Moore has gone to St. Gerard
Yeah.
Burrs.
Tangino.
Tangino has now come in. But Rowan Mills, Jack Walker, Greg Richardson, they've not really...
It's a lot of depth.
It's a lot of depth players. Sean Kenny-Dow, Brad Schneider.
Yeah, Brad Schneider's top point scorer. The
Well,
guy
they,
who came
they
in
had a
on loan.
lot. They had a lot of big points towards the end, didn't they?
Yeah, and
But
he
they
kicked
brought
goals.
in some big names. Kelpie Tanganoa and Jai Whitbread, both from Wakefield. Reece Butterworth from Dewsbury, but then Niall Valds, Tyrone May, AJ Wallace, Peter Hickey and Oliver Gildar. Do you think the goal is for this team to go one step further?
And win something, or get to a grand final.
Win something or get to a grand final? I think they'll be aiming for at least a home eliminator. I think aiming for third or fourth is a big...
You can't say, if you're a Hull KR supporter, you can't say, honestly, if you have the same season again, you'll be disappointed.
No.
Because I think if they have the exact same season again, I do
Well,
think that will be...
You know what I will argue?
overachieving.
If they get the same season again and have the same result in the final game when they get blown off the park, they'll be
In the semi-final?
in the semi-final, they'll be a little bit disappointed.
Maybe. But if they compete in that semi-final...
compete in that,
Yeah.
I think it...
Yeah.
I think it...
I think you might be looking at that.
I think that is the aim. If they get another home eliminator, go to an away semi, that's a good season. Maybe a run in the Challenge Cup again.
I think they should be winning grand finals. Just like Lee.
Good for you.
Like 16 teams, what win got the Dukes of York Knights need for win grand final
I
next year.
think, I just don't want to drop. They don't want to see that season doing so well by their side last season as a fluke.
You're
They
exactly
want to
right.
keep it consistent. and
We
then
have
keep
seen
progressing and
teams like Castleford, for example, do this and then drop.
Yeah.
Yes,
They-
exactly.
They need to, and Salford, and they need to build on this next year.
Yes,
I
don't
think
let the
they will.
momentum drop. Don't let that season last season and
Yeah.
the success it brought be a fluke.
And I think they will, and I think they'll see a bit more continued success. But yeah, they need to build on it.
I think because they're doing a lot of things right off the field.
That's
true.
Culturally, they've got some stuff going well for them.
That's
which
true.
I think will keep them consistently good.
Interesting to see how the Kenny Dowell void is filled.
Well, he's still staying on as a coach, isn't it? I'm a little bit... I don't know about the back line, how it's going to line up. Who's going to play?
Don't he play 28 games?
Who's going to play on the wing? Who's going to play full back? Because the talks with Peter Hickey had been signed for that, but then they've signed Niall Valds. Have they got a set? They're going to keep off a check and Hall.
Oh, I forgot, but now Valds and Peter Hickey.
But one of Hickey, if Hickey plays full back, Gilly plays in the centres and Evalds on the wing.
Other way around for me. Gildas on the wing, Hickey centre, Evalds.
That's the way that I would do it. But
That's the
it
way I
depends
do
who's played full back.
And then Tom Opacek and Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall. I think Ethan Ryan might be a bigger loss than, because he's the one that seems to
Yeah.
fill in at full back.
He played 12 games, 7 tries in 12 games.
Good output for a backup player.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm wondering whether I'm missing anyone from the Hull KR squad off the top of my head, because I feel like they had more depth than that when I thought about it.
What do you think about in the backs? Well, Kindhorse left.
Oh, the senior brother,
Oh, Lewis.
Lewis Senior.
Is it?
I think he's still there.
Innes has moved, hasn't
Innes has
he?
moved.
One of them's gone Cass. Innes has moved to
Yeah,
Cass.
so Senior will probably play one of the wings then. And,
No, I think it'll be... Well, so, yeah, but then...
and then
you're
maybe Evalds
having
is...
Evalds or Gildart not playing. Peter Hickey's playing.
Peter Hickey has to play.
And Tom Opacek has to play.
Right.
Per 30 games. Top try scorer?
Ryan?
Yeah. 14.
14.
Yeah, I feel like did you have a lot of players around the 10 to 12 mark? I bet Kenny Dow got about 10.
Let's have a look. Kenny Dell did get 10 actually. Opacek 9. Ethan
Sin-
Ryan,
Sin-
I said 7.
Senior about 7, 8.
Yeah, Senior got 8, yeah. James Batchelor 7.
Mikey Lewis 8.
Mikey Lewis actually got 13.
Oh,
Mikey
wow.
Lewis was good.
I seem to think that all
But he
them
played
players...
some fullback, Mikey Lewis, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
he did.
I don't
Weird
think he's a
thing,
fullback.
Weird thing, Mikey Lewis.
No, he's a 6.
Worst number 20.
Because they've retired the number 6.
Yeah,
isn't
retired
it?
number 6, yeah, it's that Roger Millward.
Mm.
So they can't have a number 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mikey Lewis number 20, but he is like...
Yeah, he's a 6.
He's the number 6, isn't he, really?
Right, should we just keep rolling into the top 3?
Yeah.
And third was Saints.
Sure.
I think Saints will be disappointed. Because when you win 4, the aim's to win 5, and the aim's to win 6 after that and keep winning.
Yeah.
But the change of coach of Wellens, I think this is probably... You're never going to keep winning. And it was a no-win. We had this conversation that it was a no-win. We actually had a conversation in a pub, me and you, Lewis, about this.
I think we had a conversation on a previous episode of the podcast as well. Is it a bit of a no-win situation?
Yeah, definitely.
Because he either wins it and everyone says, well, you won 4 before, so you should win the 5th.
You expected to. The squad's not changed that much. You
And then if you finish 5th, 6th, it's completely what you're doing. He won the World Club Challenge.
Yep. Which no one
semi-fin-
backed him to, really.
You know something? I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd have targeted the Challenge Cup. Win something, but maybe not win the big one. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Just
Yeah.
I know it doesn't hold the same as the grand final, but
Here's the problem Wellens is going to face now.
Robbie leaving.
He's lost James Rowe. Now, if I think about the first 13, or maybe let's think about just the backs for now. Walmsley's 33, but let's think about just the backs for now. Makinson's 31. Hopperwhite's left and he's 31. Percival's 30, I think.
Conrad Earl must be over 30.
Lomax is 33. When did that happen? I thought Lomax was mid-20 still.
I remember watching the 20... Did he play in the 2010 grand final?
Yes, he did. Sirenen's 30. Parzy's 31.
Matautia must be 30.
No, Matoti is younger than you think.
Is it?
27. Yeah, Matoti is younger than you think.
Oh, James Bell's the one that's older than you think.
Huddle's 32. Yes, James Bell is 29. Older than you think. So,
Gerald Clark, who's going to be...
I mean, they brought Moses Mbai in on a big long deal. He's 30. He just played in that grand final 2014 for the Bulldogs.
Darryl Clark's
30,
over 32.
32, I think, maybe.
So, it's a squad that needs refreshing.
Yeah.
But it's how you do that.
You're going to lose them at once, and it's going to be
A Leeds of...
potentially a Leeds situation
Who you lose the
Potentially.
big boys.
where you lose all the big boys in one go and your period of success is over. Maybe, I mean, as Wigan fans, we'll be delighted for that, but...
And if that's the case, they have to take it with a pinch of salt because of the years of success that they had.
And I think they will.
Yeah, there's always going to be a fall
I think they
after a rise, isn't there?
Right.
I think I think I think Wellens is, you know, he, from what I've heard of him, he talks. I don't, besides the John Aziers event he went on.
Well,
No.
yeah.
Apart
When
from
he switched
that,
allegiances to Tonga.
apart from that, no. But in terms of how he talks about his players, he said when he says about his speakers, I've got an honest group of players. I've got a determined. The way I think he jumps to defensive, but he's very well. I think he's done well. We're saying they finished third, but I am right, Anta. The top three all finished on the same points.
Yes.
It was points. So essentially, you can call it third, you can call it joint top. Really, it was points difference that separated him. So he's competed up there with Wigan and Catalan. From there, he got beat by a drop goal in the cup. If I'm right, so
And that's
he
in a
did
penalty.
penalty. Sorry,
A penalty.
That. So they've always been
And it was a last minute
games.
try in the semi-finals.
Yeah, they've always been thereabouts, haven't they? They've not looked out of place. They've not looked like they've fell off in terms of.
Let me ask you, if you were Wellens, what would you target this year? What would you try and what would your outcomes want to be of
If you're St Helens, you have to try and win everything.
Yeah,
I agree they have to try and win everything.
The window's closing on this team.
I agree.
Catalan, I know Matty will go on to Catalan in a second. They're going through a lot of changes. Tompkins and Pierce going, for example.
I think
Kieran.
Catalan are going to be really good.
I know, we'll get on to that in a minute, but I'm saying the squad's changing a bit, so we'll have to see how they react. I think it's going to go one or two ways. Either I'm expecting them actually to go the other way because of the
Yeah.
many changes they're having. So I think Wellens is going to say, actually, now Catalan are going to drop off, or have the potential to drop
If-
off the ball.
If
They could get
Saints
to a grand
finish
final.
the same situation as they did this year, a third, semi-final, Challenge Cup semi-final, how do you look at Saints' season next year?
But they won't have the World Cup challenge to.
They won't have the World
No.
Cup challenge.
I think it really depends because, like we said before about England in the World Cup semi, you can lose on Golden Point in the semi, or you can do what Hooker did in the semi. If you've competed both times, lost really close ones, and you've been, like Lewis
It's
said,
the manner of them
you've
wins
you've
or
been
defeats.
joint top basically, and you've lost out on points difference, and you've lost really narrow defeats in the two
Do
semi-finals.
you think?
You can kind of deal with it, but the window on this team in 12 months' time might be closed.
I will ask. Do you think the style of play that they play with might be a factor in how he's looked at the end of this year?
Yes.
Because I know a few Saints fans have been critical of them looking a bit. I don't want to say clueless.
One-dimensional.
One-dimensional
John
is the word I'm looking
has
for.
been, and John Wilk obviously on Sky loves obviously.
We've been
being
critical of the
Saints
short
player.
side plays that they like and the
One-dimensional.
very similar kicks.
One-dimensional is the word.
And a bit of if they want some flow, give it to Wellesby.
Wellesby's carrying a lot on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Honestly, Wellesby, for his age, 22,
Yeah.
is carrying a lot on his... Not just for England, because you can kind of do
I
that, because
think
you only
if
do
he
it
can-
twice a year. For St Helens, he's carrying a lot on his shoulder.
I think if he could take maybe a step back in results, but the style play might not buy in time, but Saints fans might be positive behind that.
What do you think about the recruitment for this time?
Who's in and out?
Let me find it. So,
They've obviously brought Matt Whitley in.
let's just say Moses Mbai's instead of...
Lusick.
Hopawati.
Hopawati.
Yeah, let's just say Moses Mbai's instead of Hopawati. They brought Darryl Clark and Matt Whitley in. That's it.
For losing Roby, Lusick,
Hopper.
And they kept
Off
T.
the
Mason,
water.
haven't they?
They've kept T.
Signed
Mason.
him on.
Norman, Baxter. That's it really.
I think there's been some good pickups for Lee.
Yeah, those two.
as
Those
squad
two
players.
both gone to Lee, and the rest have kind of dropped down divisions. One gone to Salford.
I don't.
The squad, I worry about the
They might not be
squad.
done.
They
That's
might
the
not be
only thing.
done.
They might not be. I don't know how close they are to the cap though, because there's a lot of old players on this team. They might be close to the cap just because of their ages and the.
If that 1 to 17 plays every week, they'll be alright. If squad numbers 23, 24, 26 get dragged in, that's my worry. Not my
Yeah.
worry, but that's my concern for Saints.
They're pinning basically their entire hopes of their future forward pack on a 19-year-old George Delaney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George Delaney has got to basically become England's next big prop, otherwise they're in trouble. Because you can't, like I said on the preview show, you've gone and got Darryl Clark there to replace Robbie, who is English, talented, international. Obviously you'll lose something with Robbie going with just as a talisman, but you've replaced him with a great player in his position.
As close as you can get.
You can't afford to do that with Lomax, Percival, Makinson, Walmsley. When they all go,
the other centre in Hurrell or Hopawati.
when they all go, you can't replace them all with a Darryl Clark type player. It's impossible. This team has got to be rammed right up against the cap based on their ages and their international quality and all
And the
that
success
sort of
they've had.
stuff. And the fact
They'll
that
be on big
the fact
contracts
that they'll
because
be
of
on
the success they've all
big
had,
contracts
yeah.
because they've won everything. Yeah.
Now, should we talk about probably the last team we need to really mention? So what we talk about, we get a lot. So
Do you know what T. Ritson's full name is?
Go on.
Theoropol.
I get why it's T. Ritson.
Theoropol Ritson.
I get it.
He's 27 as well.
Really?
Yeah. That's ridiculous. I can't believe he's 27.
No, I thought he was about 20. I thought he was similar age to us.
Yeah.
Catalan. Second on points difference again.
Yeah.
Grand final, a loss. So they lost in 2021 to Saints.
Yeah.
2022 didn't get there.
Leeds beat them.
Lost in 2023.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the one that got away? Because the one in 2021 is they've not been to one before and
Yeah, they were close though.
I think so because they went out of the cup quite early when they got knocked out on Warrington.
yes.
They went out. Was it the quarters? And they went out. Am I
The
right?
first game,
Warrington.
Yeah,
am
they
I
went
right?
out when we beat
Am I right?
Leeds.
Warrington beat them in Catalan as well.
In the last
Yeah.
minute winner in Catalan, Matty
Yeah.
Ashton, yeah, I remember.
So I think they would have been disappointed with that, and they could have used that as a point to say, we've not got any more cup games to focus on. We can make a
We
push
get a
for
couple
the
of weeks
league.
off here and there.
Yeah, so we can make a push for the league. Obviously,
there's
again,
more-
joint top, but then got to the grand final. But
They were 4
couldn't.
points clear. We were going to it might have been 6. We were going to Catalan
4
thinking
points it was.
if Catalans win, it's game over. They finish top. For them to not finish top from that position, do you think the manner of that defeat?
34-0, and then to go to Hull KR the next week and get beat again.
Yeah, I think it knocked them.
I think that second one really,
Yeah,
because they would have been thinking, right, we've had a bad week there, but at least we can bounce
Bad
back.
day at the office,
Yeah.
bounce back.
And we'll still be top.
Mm.
But no, they lost, we won, we're top, all of a sudden it's panic stations then, isn't it? And then it's all of a sudden, you're third, because they were third, and then it's, all right, well, we've got to win, we've got to get past Saints on points difference to even host a semi-final, you know, to get to Old Trafford. So
And if Saints get the home semi, do you think? Because my thought was whoever gets the home one between.
that's the game has a
Second and
completely
third.
different complexion if it's played in St Helens. Just that game was, that game had a really different complexion if it was played out in Saints.
I do have a think, because of how big that second versus third was. I look back at it, I think winning the way they did with the Tompkins try and everything about it. Do you think they peaked then?
Well, the fans running on the pitch.
That was the win.
I don't know because our semi-final was incredible as well.
It was incredible, but there was more of a feel to that of. You're at the grand final now. Now's the one. They were not getting through. 5 minutes before the end, they weren't getting there.
Yeah.
Then you win the way you do with Tompkins step, bang, under the try. Everyone floods the field, all that stuff. That you've got to get up again.
Yeah.
How would you not celebrate a win like that?
It was almost like that was the grand final, the semi.
Yeah, a little bit, and I fall more with you on this side of the argument, Lewis. I think that there could be a chance of Catalan dropping off.
I think they've got to go through some big squad change. Tompkins retiring, Pierce not being there.
Mitch
anymore.
Pearce
just think
Kieran's gone, Gudamond, you said's going.
Kieran's gone.
they've brought in 4 players who I rate:
Who?
Sateh,
Yeah.
Farge,
Mm.
Tariq Sims.
Right, so does Farge replace Mitch Pearce?
No, but they got Jaden Nikarima, a younger model. He's Richard Pearce 10 years ago. Well, they're going to hope he has the next 10 years. But like for like, Jaden Nikarima is a younger model of Mitchell Pearce. Bailey Sirenen, just solid. Solid. He's going to replace Matt Whitley, isn't it? Just solid.
But who's going to replace
Tariq Sims.
the off the field stuff that Sam did?
Well,
That
Sam's
Mitch
still
Pearce- But I mean
I'm sure Mitchell Pearce still lives in France.
yeah, but I'm on about the internal driving the culture. This is the expectations. You know.
Here's
if
why.
someone doesn't turn up at training, doesn't perform at training, Sam's getting them told. Mitch Pearce is getting them told.
Here's why I don't think that's too much of a factor, because I respect McNamara, and I think he's in this project long term, and I think he's going to basically keep them up at the top. I do like the players they've brought in.
Out of the signings, out of the team that was there, who gets better? Tom Johnston, I don't think can get better. He's performing at a very, very high standard. I think he'll keep that. I don't think Ikevalu gets better.
Arthur Morg with a full season.
Artur Morg, but he's going to be a drop off from Sam. That's guaranteed.
Yeah. But I mean, if you talk about standards, you've got Mike McAlorum.
Another year older. How old's Mickey now?
But if you talk about driving standards,
I
that's
know.
why they're keeping him on. Paul Seguier, in answer to your question, I really rate Paul Seguier.
Yeah.
They'll be gutted not to be keeping Gudamond, 27 years old, French international player.
That's the thing for me. I just don't think there's many players that I'm looking at getting better. I look at Wigan's squad, and I think there's young lads who are going to get better.
It relies on them keeping hold of somebody like Matt Ikevalu as well.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think the next 2 months,
yeah.
if they get the next 2 months right and get the right players in,
I just think that I like Ligueur as well, the centre who didn't play much this year. He got a bad injury. I like him. I like Tom Davis.
I genuinely believe the season's decided almost before the season starts.
I really rate McNamara, and I think he's going to get it right. But yeah,
I hope he does, mate. Because
I
I
know,
do rate McNamara.
I
think
want
obviously-
Catalans to win it. I want Catalans to win a grand final,
I think they will.
not at the expense of us. Obviously,
I think there's a chance that's the same grand final again.
yeah.
I think if I was a betting man,
You don't
which I'm
want
not,
them
I'd
to
bet the same
drop
one.
off and everyone to say, "Oh, they had the chance, they blew it," and then they dropped off after that. Really.
But-
They had the
My-
chance.
my-
That's what people
my-
said about
my-
Warrington.
But my worry
Yeah, yeah.
is that if they don't win it next year, McLaurin's a year older.
McLaren will be finished. This is his last year.
I'm trying to think of some of the other pplayers, and I've gone blank here.
Busquets,
Busquets a year older.
Ben Garcia.
Garcia.
Meekin.
Mike
Yeah, another bit
McMeekin,
now.
Mike McMeekin will be 30 next year.
Yeah.
Comes 31.
That's true.
That whole squad was designed to win it in 2023, in my opinion. They've extended it to next year.
No, I agree, and I do think they've refreshed it into next year with some good quality young signings, plus Tarek Sims' bit of experience. And I do think they've extended it one more year,
Maybe 2025.
maybe maximum 2. But I think it's now or never, and maybe there's a new big team, super team coming up. I mean, people saying it's Wigan because we've got such a young squad. Obviously, losing.
But this is sort of what I meant when
Kai
we
Pearson.
talked about Warrington. When we talked about Warrington before, that you've seen Saints have dipped off.
They could be that team. Warrington
They could be the team that steps up.
Warrington
Leeds could be that team.
They could.
Them couple of teams in from probably
Funny.
fifth
Ulster
to
could be that team.
yeah. Now's your chance to join the top 2.
Yeah, I agree. No,
To
I
be
agree.
competing with Wigan.
And that's why I
agree.
was so strong on the Warrington conversation before, that that's the one that I could see having to step up. This is your chance to jump Saints, to jump Catalan. And if you can have a big season now, you could have 3-4 years of it.
Yeah.
But right, I think that wraps up every other team.
Mm-hmm.
Wigan, obviously, win the grand final. We've talked about this already.
We had a big season review of Wigan already.
Yeah.
And we talked about ins and outs on the podcast we just recorded.
Goals for Wigan next year. We talked about goals for
Run it back. Win the league again.
got to go for it again.
And I'm one personally who, if it's on these shores, I'd love to win the World Club Challenge.
I'd love to win it wherever.
If it's abroad, I'm not as bothered. Because
No, I'd love to go over there.
I'd rather have the.
I'd just be gutted that I couldn't go.
Would I rather have
Maybe
domestic
we have it in
success?
Vegas.
I'd rather have domestic success, I think.
You can't let it derail your season.
Yeah, exactly. That's why if it's on these shores, I'd give everything for it.
Yeah.
And then be fine by round 4.
Mm.
But that's if it even takes place. I've not heard anything about where it's going to be. Or
Vegas.
It's not going to be in Vegas. Penrith aren't one of the best 4 teams marketing wise, so they can't go to Vegas.
I think, I said it on another podcast, so I'm sorry Matt, shout at me now for putting my eggs in my basket, too early, whatever the phrase is, but I'm calling it. I think Wigan could end up having a 3-4 years like Saints.
The conversation when Pete came in was for 2024.
I think it could be a dynasty.
No, when
place
Pete
for
took
it.
over, it was to win the league in 2025. Guaranteed. No, 2025.
Was it 25
Third
that
year.
we're aiming for?
Third year.
That's 24. 22, 24.
Oh, sorry, 24. Yeah. That's my fault. I'm thinking already.
You are a maths teacher.
I'm thinking we're in 24 already because of all these signings that we're talking about.
But
Next year.
this was the
one.
target year,
Next
the
year.
one coming up.
Yeah.
The one coming up, yeah.
So this to me feels a bit of a bonus, and they've got to go and do the job now.
But I think they will, and I think, not again, you can only control what you can control, but with teams like we just had a good conversation about Catalan, they could drop off with teams changing. The Saints have got their dynasty that they've made is falling off because they're getting older, they're going to start retiring,
The
losing
thing is,
their golden
they
one.
never lost any of them to the NRL. We've already lost Smithies and Kai Pearce to the NRL. I think if we keep all the Harry
I suppose,
Smith,
if we keep
French
all,
and Field.
keeping hold of them will be a big thing, I think.
French
so, yeah.
Field, Smith, those will be
But
the
I
guys.
think this squad we're building with the young talent we've got coming through, like you've just said then, Tommy, we think, and we know we're going to get better.
Yeah.
They're already good and they're going to get better. I think it could be the start of the dynasty.
we
for
are a
Wigan.
young
I think
team.
Saints will be looking up at us, and when they start saying, I hate all your success, we're going to say to them, this is how we felt 5 years ago watching you do it all. And
Just
you're
wish
in
we
their
could
boat now.
Just wish we could have beat them. Because they got a win over us in 2020.
I don't care.
There's something special about
I don't care if we beat Catalan Dragons in the final, if we beat St Helens in the final, if we beat Loughborough Hornets in the final. If you've got
I'll tell you what, they've done well to get there.
they could get Challenge Cup final. The Challenge Cup final could be Wigan against Loughborough Hornets. You're not telling me there's no world where that exists. There's a world where Wigan
How much
against
money are you putting on it?
Loughborough is the final.
Because I'll match it.
I'm not putting any money on it. You know, I'm not a betting man. But what I'm saying is, if you're
1,000 to 1 right now.
if you're in a final, I don't give an absolute monkey's ears against. You want to win. I don't care.
Mm.
If somebody says to me, "Oh, you only won that final because Catalan made it, not St Helens," don't care. Catalan were there on merit.
Yeah.
We beat them. Who
Yeah.
cares? We beat the cup. We won the cup final. What? Because we were against Huddersfield? No, we didn't.
Well, that wraps up the season review, really. But nice chatting to you.
Yeah.
Stayed on Warrington for far too long for my
Well, I'll
life.
see you. I'll see you
Sorry.
two in February then.
Yeah, we're all
I
into
know.
hibernation now.
Need a break now, don't we?
All into hibernation. Hopefully, a few more specials to come up. Keep an eye out on the Twitter.
There'll be no more like this where we talk about games, or
Yeah,
Reviews type thing.
we might do an IMG one.
yeah.
We might do a when we did that international special. That was fun. We might do something like that, or
But
some sort of
Just
Super
keep
League,
your eye out on the
Super League structure special. We might do an interview or two.
Mm.
I'm not giving too much away by saying that. We might do an interview or two.
Yeah. But keep your eyes out on social media. Like, share, Twitter, YouTube. There's now a Facebook page, I think, that we're starting up.
In progress.
And keep sharing it. Go back and listen to the old episodes. Give us your feedback.
Mm.
So, thank you, Matty, for coming. Thank you, Lewis.
No problem,
Belton.
guys. Thank you very much.
And
That's it.
see you later. Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care